Good morning. What's up? Welcome to Exploring the Ka. My name is Ra Castaldo, and we are live on YouTube. Waiting for some people to join. I know some people are new to my channel. I'm at a very mystical place right now. Very, very mystical place. We're going to continue the discussion from yesterday. Yes, everybody, I love and thank you for all the comments that you guys always provide. And yeah, for my drive time shaman videos, I do have to get some sort of mount for my camera, because anything could go wrong. Morning, cuz. And, you know, hopefully, I'm actually looking for a full-time job right now, because doing readings and crystals and stuff just ain't cutting it. Yeah, it's a little cold out. I worked a regular job for 20 years and it really didn't get me too much anywhere. So I'm taking I'm in the middle of going through something with court with my old job, so I haven't been getting a paycheck at all the last couple months. So it's been a little rough. And you know, me and my wife and daughter are actually staying with family right now. We don't even have our own place right now, so it's rough. That's why sometimes I can't do videos at night, because it's a little cramped and stuff going on. So I am figuring out a better situation where it's just it's been stress too. It's been like a lot of anxiety for me. I was used to having my own house for many years, and I've been ups and downs in my life all over. You know, I've been with a lot of money, with no money, you know, in group home when I was younger for a while, you know, so I've been through a whole bunch in my life. So it's not that I need a lot, you know, it's just I definitely worry about providing for my daughter and stuff like that. And a lot of people are telling me, oh, you provide too much info for free, you do this, you do that. But it's part of my calling to help people remember the truth, or who we are, or help to unravel the truth. I'm not saying everything I say is 100% true, but I hope I intrigue people enough to do their own research. And you know, I have over 30 years of experiences and research. Almost, you know, you could say 42 years of experience with these topics. But in the last 30 years of my life, I've been heavily researching these topics and trying to figure out the truth behind my spiritual initiation and what really is transpiring. And the time we're living in right now is one of the most important ever. And we're going to see a lot of big changes. And it's going to be an uphill battle for some. But we can change the world. You know, I referenced Dr. Seuss the other day, but you can learn some heavy lessons from Dr. Seuss. I mean, in Horton Hears a Who, I was watching it with my daughter, and I had like a revelation. I mean, it doesn't matter how big or small you are, how insignificant, how bright you are, but the beliefs and the energy of one person can change worlds. It could be like something that taps into a universal consciousness, and that's what happens with Horton Hears a Who. You know, the voice of one person on a small little microscopic world was heard by the elephant, and then no one believed him. Everybody thought he was crazy, that he was talking to aliens, invisible aliens that don't exist. And then finally, from the yell of one little child on that smaller world, other people heard besides the elephant, and it changed everything. And the energy and the belief of that one child changed it all. And that's a huge lesson for people to know that, yeah, I feel something big is about to take place. I'm in my 40s, so I made some bad decisions in my life when I was younger. I was running from what I was happening to me spiritually for a while, and I was led to a lot of places, and it was part of my spiritual journey. Um, I was even playing as a street musician for 2 years and supporting myself by playing guitar on the street. I mean, this was in my early 20s in California, but like I've been through a whole lot, and I probably would have made it with music if it wasn't for fucking off with drugs, me and my friends. Sorry, I'm cursing on here. I know YouTube doesn't like it, but I lost some friends to what's up, Josh? My brother Josh is in the house, probably on break at work. What's up, brother? If I didn't fuck off a lot when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, I would have been a lot better conditioned than I am now. One of my cousins, I grew up with him and his brother and his mom, and my mom were inseparable, is actually a famous actor. And I am more talented than he is. He'll even admit it, that I'm a better musician and a better writer and all of this. He's even told it to me personally. And I don't like the name drop. I don't bring him up on interviews or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, Michael Imperioli is. I grew up. Me and our families grew up together, and he played Christopher on Sopranos, and he wrote. I think he even wrote Summer of Sam and sold it to Spike Lee. He did a lot of things, but that always like stays in the back of my mind. That like if Michael can do it, him and my older brother are both named Michael. My mom and his mom both named their first sons Michael, and they were both born in 1966. So like, our families were very, very close. In fact, I talked to his brother John Imperioli all the time, and his mother, my Aunt Claire. But Michael, we don't really talk that much anymore since he got famous. But last time I saw him was at my mom's funeral, my mom's wake. So, but he is going to be visiting his mom on Thanksgiving, I think. So I'm going to call there and we're going to talk. And he wanted to see my new comic book that I'm working on and hear some of my music that I was working on. So maybe something will come of it, but we'll see. I don't, I want to do things on my own. So I've never asked anybody for favors or anything like that. And people are only really out for themselves in life mostly. I figured that out, even when it comes to family. And, I don't really like to talk about family too much on here. So that's why I don't put even like pictures of my daughter up on Facebook or anything. Maybe when she gets older, I'm not feeling it right now. But I wanted to continue the discussion from yesterday. Yesterday, I got some emails that people were very interested in the subject. Yeah, it's like he doesn't talk to us anymore. It's just that once he got married, he kind of, that's a whole nother situation. So I won't even, discuss that. But, he's a very good dude, man. He just, people make decisions in life. And, I don't know. It's weird because if I was in that position, I would have definitely done a lot other things that some people don't do when they get famous. Like I would have definitely took care of my family for sure. But it's a very strange life, and it's definitely, there's no coincidences in life. You meet certain people for certain reasons, and there's definitely spiritual signs around you at all times from all directions, and it's up to you to lock onto that. And yesterday I was discussing the Scarab heart technology and what's encoded in the underground cities of the dead and necropolises and the underworld. And some of this is very controversial because it involves dogmatic religious beliefs. And some people, they don't want to believe certain things because it shatters the history books. It shatters the dogmatic religions. And when you think of the Sacred Heart in general, it's very, uh, it's 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 entwined within the Catholicism and Christianity. Think about just the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It's always shown with a fire around the heart. It's some sort of sacred fire, a technology that merges a fusion between two worlds. And it's I do believe it takes, it does something to your blood, and it does something to your heart, almost like a holographic world is fused with your heart. You breathe it in. And we don't really know. Yes, well, they call this the nocturnal sun as well. When you go through, and I do think it's our sun, and now there's some sort of super quantum intelligence within Saturn's rings, within the very rings of Saturn. What we see as the rings, what our eyes show us as the rings, is maybe even a council of computers, if you want to say, some sort of super quantum intelligence. And there's different stages of the gods of ancient Egypt. You have the morning sun, the noon sun. You have like Ra, you have Tum, and then you have the nocturnal sun overnight. Osiris becomes the nocturnal sun, right? The sun of the underworld. And this is a living, breathing energy system. And I do believe that the underground cities of the dead, the labyrinths of the underworld, are encoded with a sacred energy. It's a sacred fire. And there's numerous technologies that we don't even understand. There might even be cold fusion involved. Especially when we think about Hawara, Egypt, or the Lake Morris area. They beneath that, where the labyrinth was that Herodotus talks about, there's underground levels with over 3,000 rooms down there. And I do feel that there was some sort of power down there, similar to like a nuclear power, but different, and maybe even cold fusion, some sort of sun, some sort of radiating energy that merges the holographic world with this world. It brings you to a higher dimensional experience and existence. And within these necropolises, from what I've seen in my research and from the things that just come to me, that it's more than just a spiritual initiation. They're the literal walls, the objects, the scarab stone, the vases or vases, the very sarcophagi, all of this, they're encoded with a technology. They are imprinted with a holographic script. There's some sort of holographic writing and sacred technology that's literally encoded, imprinted on these items. And there's knowledge of resurrecting the dead. There's knowledge of being able to unlock the secrets of nature. There's all of this knowledge of being able to transform spirit to matter, from matter to spirit. Soul transfer. All of this encoded and able to be unlocked through the spiritual initiates, through the ones that have the spiritual initiations and are able to transform, literally, like Kepra. And this is what some of the saints and the holy men from all over the world, not just in Catholicism, but there's been saints from India, there's been saints from all over the world that have unlocked this technology. And when we look at Jesus, right, we don't know much about Jesus's life. He disappeared for 30 years or something like this. We know about his birth. I think there's one instance from his early childhood, and then he doesn't appear again to his early 30s. Some people think he possibly could have been an Enoch priest, a priest that castrates themselves, one of the Essenes, and there were many Essenes that were Enochs. Now, when we come up to Jesus, he's always pictured with this. Look, he's always pictured with that sacred heart. Look at the fiery heart on his chest. The fiery heart. So what if this Scarab stone or this Scarab technology was somehow unlocked by Jesus during the years that we don't know where he was? What if he was in different underground cities of the dead and different ancient sacred sites where he unlocked these mysteries, where he became like the ultimate prophet, and that is very highly intriguing. And he was able to resurrect the dead. He was able to overcome laws of nature, and so were numerous saints that followed him. Now, what I talked about yesterday was Saint Philip Neri and what he has done. I mean, if you look into the accounts of all of the healing miracles by Saint Philip Neri, they all involve him restarting the heart of another person. Some of them just for a few moments, for them to absolve of their sins and for him to bless them, and then they died afterwards. But he had some sort of electromagnetic energy or something like this that could pump, that literally a vibrational energy that can restart the heart, just like those electric shocks that they put on in a hospital for someone. That he had this vibrational energy that are able to kickstart the heart again. And it comes from your blood, charging your blood with that energy, and then breathing it out of your mouth, that same energy, onto whatever object you want. I mean, this is, you generate a vibrational energy within your DNA, within your bloodstream, and then by breathing, you transport it to your lungs, and then you breathe it out on the object or the person. And then when they say rise, rise from the dead, it's a vibrational electric shock energy that's coming out of the mouth and awakening the body. And sometimes the soul returns. And sometimes people are used as some sort of voodoo puppet. Saint Vincent Ferrer and other people, even Saint Anthony, they resurrected people from the dead just so those people can either testify in court on their behalf or claim that the Christian God is the better God or something like that. So they're literally bringing back someone from the dead to prove their point, to gain followers, to use them as a puppet. And to use them to let them say what they want to say. This is the oldest of voodoo. This is the most high technology of the underworld. And I was talking about Saint Philip Neri yesterday, and he has numerous accounts of being able to restart somebody's heart, or somebody that was so close to death that he brought them back. And last night I had an intense dream and vision, and I was screaming out in my dream, and it involved Mother Shipton. So I'm going to do another video about that later on. But I wanted to talk about Saint Rosa of Viterbo. And I talked about her on, who we got in the chat room here. Let me see what's going on in the chat room. Yeah, Saturn losing its rings. I'm not sure if Saturn is, but maybe it's because we're about to get a new sun again. Who knows? If you guys, if you guys have been around a lot, a few decades, at least, you'll remember the sun has changed colors. It was more yellow when I was a kid. It's now white. I remember it being way more yellow when I was younger. Hey, everybody. Hey, Indigo, Sharon, Claudette, Firehorse, Tiffany, everybody, Josh, everybody out there, Meg, Sherry, what's up? Yeah, I mean, the Scarab stone is part of this. Some of the Scarab stones, the literal, and I know people usually associate the Scarab with ancient Egypt, but they've been found in Babylon. They've been found in Sardinia. They've been found in Etruria, which is Etruscan. They've been found all over Mesopotamia, all over the world. They've been found in abundance. And you can find them in Babylon or Etruria with Egyptian themes on them. Or even, in Greece, you have Egyptian themes. You have things about Isis on them. You can even go into different places and find stuff about Greek mythology on them as well. You could find all sorts of inscriptions. Some of the Phoenician ones as well are amazing, and they have all sorts of inscriptions that go back to ancient Egypt and other places. Hey, Ruger. Hey, Jan. Oh, Jan. We got the follow up to your reading that we did a couple months back. I have more information for you that I've uncovered. Very interesting. Something one of the visions of your past lives. I made some amazing dot connections, and I think I'm onto something with you. So we gotta reconnect when you have time. When we both have time. But so, and everybody, I do readings, themysticalspiral.com. I have crystals. Definitely people got to check out my crystals and my tensor tools because they are world class. I love you too, everybody. I love you too. Now, Saint Rosa of Viterbo. So it's possible that Jesus discovered one of this Scarab technology or unlocked some of these mysteries, and this is where he had this amazing powers from, able to overcome the secrets of nature. And we don't know a lot about Jesus's past, and some of these Scarab stones, I'm writing a book about obelisks and spiritual technology, and somewhere throughout writing that book I came across the Scarab information and what was coming to me about it. So it became more about not just specifically about obelisks, but about spiritual technology, the book. And it's very, very intense, and some of the, I've been keeping a dream log for a very long time, and some of the things I've been shown my whole life have been leading up to this knowledge. And it's definitely intense when we think about all this stuff, and it's amazing to speak about because there's something taking place where there's a holy war going on for sacred spots. And I mentioned it a little bit yesterday about what's taking place at the Dome of the Rock, and that is truly a whole nother subject that we got to get into. But to go back to the saints and the Scarab technology, now, we can find Scarab stones in all sorts of areas when it comes to mummies and the underworld and what they're encoded with. Now, the ones that are entwined within the mummy's wrappings are usually the smaller ones. The biggest Scarab stones are the ones that are in place of the heart. They literally take the place of the heart. And it's my understanding that they're encoded with everything, all the knowledge that was unlocked during every heartbeat of that incarnation. It's encoded within that Scarab stone. And you'll see a lot of sarcophagi that are empty now. That's because those mummies have reawoken. Those mummies have found a new form. And when that happens, the body will either disintegrate or something transforms, where it's no longer in the sarcophagi. And some have been really messed with and taken, and I think that releases a disembodied entity. Some sort of mantra is broken. Something it takes place where something is unleashed, and it becomes a sort of disembodied spirit, or it becomes something. It transforms into some sort of demonic monster. But until it finds its path again, it gets lost. And I do feel the Serapeum of Saqqara is a good example of an underworld technology. And all of these amazing red granite sarcophagi. Now, the scarab stone in the heart is the most important ones that are taking the place of the heart. And I do feel that Rosa of Viterbo came across underworld technology. Underworld, cities of the dead, necropolises, something was unlocked within her. And I caught a vision of her being a young child, 3 or 4 years old, within the underground tombs. Now, she is from Romagna, and, you know, there's ancient Etruscan necropolises all through that area, especially Viterbo. I don't know if she's actually from Viterbo, or that's just where the church she is now, where her body is now. Now, this is intense information, because check this out. First, let's talk about Rosa of Viterbo and what happened with her. I mean, this is a woman at 3 years old. She resurrected her aunt from the dead. From the dead. How did she do this? Well, the story goes that she was born, and at a young age, she already had psychic abilities. And something took place around the age of 3 or 4 years old, for sure. And it's not in the history books about this, but I do believe she was somehow within the underworld. She went in some of these underground catacombs or necropolises. I'm not sure exactly how or who brought her down there or how she got down there, but I caught a vision of her beneath the ground in tombs, and she came across some sort of encoded artifact, and it did this, and it's probably a scarab stone. It was probably a sacred scarab stone with wings even. Now, she, at 3 years old, her aunt died, and everybody was at the wake, and I think she's from the 1200s. Pretty sure she's from the 1200s. Saint Rose, Rose of Viterbo. She's from like the 1250s or something like that. And this was the time that the Knights Templars were rediscovering lost technology as well. You know, during, you know, I think they were all burned at the stake in the 1300s. But so at this time, some technology had already been discovered. So who knows how she came across some sacred technology, but she unlocked the secrets of nature within herself, within her higher dimensional brain, her higher self, and it changed her DNA. It changed her heart. Her heart got merged and fused with the holographic world, where she can cross worlds very easily. Spirit to matter, matter to spirit. This is Fey technology. This is interdimensional technology. This is otherworld, higher dimensional technology. And check this out. If you guys have been following my work for a while, a couple of months ago, this saint was actually pushed into the ground and being punished. Now I have him back up with little dolmens right here, little bench dolmens. Look at that. But this saint is Saint Francis Assisi. He's standing over the sacred grove that's right here. He's the saint of animals, and now they have him erected again. They even cleaned him up a little bit. But you can see how the top of the cross is broken off. It's just a T now. And look at my hawk is right there, or my falcon. Look at, there he goes. Look at, he's gonna go right on Mary's head maybe. Or the Black Madonna. There's my spirit guide. Horus flying around Isis. And look at, this is a 60-foot Black Madonna. And everybody has heard about this before if they saw my research. And she actually has a pentagram on her neck that I've shown. If you're just experiencing my channel for the first time now, this is a place that's very, very important to me. I actually went to nursery school on these grounds. I come here to meditate. And I've received very intense information at this site and spiritual experiences within these woods and these surrounding areas. In fact, Ledgeworth Village is right down the road. But I don't know if you guys can see right now, but if I look in at her neck, you can see a faded out pentagram, you know, on her lower neck. And I went through a whole thing on Leak Project and on this channel about how that's connected to other Marian apparitions and the sacred neck of Isis and the bow and arrow of Diana with the arrow through the throat and being resurrected from the dead. All different things. It's connected to our Black Madonna of Poland, the Virgin of Guadalupe, and all that. So going back to Rosa of Viterbo, she, at 3 years old, her aunt died, and there was a vibrational energy that she was generating at the wake. She saw everybody mourning, standing over the casket. It was an open coffin, open casket, and this is all recorded in Catholic and Christian documents, you know. So she was standing there as a 3-year-old baby, and she caught on to the vibrational mourning of everybody else, you know, and she tapped into that, and the vibrational energy was charging in her bloodstream. You know, I locked on to while I was reading about this, I locked onto it. So I'm able to add even more than what it says in the history books. They just said that she raised her from the dead. She put her eyes to the heavens, and she called her aunt out by name, and the corpse rose from the casket. Well, what I felt is that the blood in her body was charging with a vibrational energy and a hope and a belief that the body would rise, an unshakable belief. And she looked towards the sky, you know, even though they were probably indoors. She looked up, her eyes rolling back almost, and she called her aunt out by name, charged the blood in her body, and then transported it to her lungs by breathing. And then when she breathed out, her shocked the corpse until it awoke. The aunt returned all her color to her face. She was dead for days. She was in the casket, already prepared for being buried. And she rose from the casket and embraced her niece. Now, what kind of force can do that? I mean, of course, they want to say it's because of God, the hand of God. And some Christians believe only Jesus can do that. Well, what about all these other accounts? It is the oldest of spiritual technology, the most ancient and the most kept secret. So when this is done, that person is either taken by the church, watched by the church, or secluded, or even killed in some cases. Now, Rosa of Viterbo, when this happened, she became a recluse of the church. The church, even though she went to the Franciscans, they kept her at her own house in seclusion, in combat prayer. She would be, you know how when nuns would stay in prayer for many years? Well, Rosa of Viterbo, at 7 years old, Rosa of Viterbo stayed in seclusion in prayer. She had amazing abilities to tap into the spiritual forces, and at a very young age, she was already in seclusion. She was, like I said, she was able to raise somebody from the dead at 3 years old. So I do think that the Catholics, the Christians, they were watching her intensely, and they didn't even want her at the convent with other nuns. They wanted her where they can keep an eye on her, where she didn't watch on her, where she didn't have a lot of contact with other people, and it was taking her life force. When you use your spiritual abilities this way almost, you know, when you know it sucks from your life force. It takes from your life force. And Rose died at 17 years old, and I could talk about numerous things that she did. I mean, but I really want to get to what they did with her heart and the technology that they used with her. I mean, I talked about it on my show on Saturday night on Truth Frequency Radio. But, I mean, one thing that comes to mind is how she was like the ultimate shaman. Is that there was a local witch in the town that she lived in when she was young of age, 10 years old, maybe 12 years old. And the witch was hexing people in the town. People were scared of the witch. She was causing a commotion. So Rosa of Viterbo converted this witch to Catholicism. How did she convert this witch? She stood in a fire for 3 hours without being burnt until that witch claimed that Rose's god was stronger and more powerful than the witch's god. Just like Moses did with the Egyptian priests, it was like a battle of magic. And that witch couldn't stand in the flames without being burnt. But Rose stood in the flames for 3 hours. Now, she also had the being able to become weightless, even making stones weightless. When she would preach, they say that she would able to levitate on a rock. So she was able to unlock the capsules of stones. Stones are like frozen moments of technology, frozen moments of time. And if you're able to unlock the secrets of matter, they become weightless, just like your body can become weightless. And it's known. I mean, they've done experiments on this in science where something can become weightless as well as the host of what's going on. So the rock and the person becomes weightless. It's very intriguing. And not only that, but she prophesized about certain kings that would die, all of this. So fast forward to Rose's death. Now, her body has been used as a relic, as a holy spiritual weapon. And it's kept in a reliquary, crystal or see-through reliquary with gold around it. And it's used as her body stayed incorrupted for many, many years, hundreds of years. Now, their skill, even though it's been 900 years since she died, her skin is still on the corpse, but it's weathered looking, it's dark looking. Her body, and they say it's still flexible, her arms and legs move. Her body looks like a horror movie zombie, that if a zombie got up and walked, that it would look like this. I mean, they have this in a glass case where everybody can worship and use it. It's being used as a spiritual weapon. It's being used for sacred Scarab heart technology. Now, like I said, her body looks like a horror movie corpse within that glass case. It has still, hey baby, it still has its skin on it, and it's flexible, like it will walk around. But check this out, the most amazing thing that people just overlook. Oh, it was just, they just did this for no reason. Oh, okay. So in ancient Egyptian technology, they remove the heart from the corpse and put it in a vase, right? And they do some sort of sacred technology to assure the resurrection, to assure the rebirth, and to assure that the body's reborn and reborn immortally, right? So she dies in like the 1200s, right? They wait hundreds and hundreds of years, and I guarantee you, every day of all of those years, they had a line of priests doing certain incantations or prayers to charge this ritual, to keep this ritual stronger and stronger and stronger. They probably had a whole priesthood dedicated. Every generation of the priesthood will continue these prayers every night. And for hundreds and hundreds of years, they probably continued this prayer until 1921. Her body still incorrupted. In 1921, and she died in the 1200s, right? In 1921, they decide to remove the heart from the corpse of Rosa of Viterbo. They removed the heart from the corpse in 1921, and they put that heart in another reliquary. Now, what is going on here? What is taking place here? Think about that. They wait a couple of hundred years until 1921, and in 1921 her heart is removed and it's put in a crystal reliquary, and who knows what kind of incantations are attached to that. Now, just I know in Vatican II, there was a lot of reformations made, a lot of changes made, especially with the prayers. But in Catholicism, up until the 1960s and maybe even the 1970s, if someone died, I know when my grandmother died, my mom was given a special Bible, and even they told her that for 300 days you got to do a special incantation or a special prayer for the dead. So imagine if for hundreds and hundreds of years they did some sort of special prayer, some sacred heart prayer for Rosa of Viterbo. And then after all of these years of generating that powerful mantra, they finally removed the heart in 1921 and put it in another case to enclose the technology. And you know, it's the oldest of witchcraft. It's the oldest of spiritual technology. And it's right in front of our eyes, and people don't even recognize this shit. So that is truly amazing information, truly mind-blowing stuff. And it is the sacred Scarab technology of resurrection and rebirth. They knew that the heart of Rosa of Viterbo, the very bones of Rosa of Viterbo, was encoded with this technology. The secrets of this technology was imprinted on her bones. Now, there's many levels to the soul. If you look in Kabbalah, there's many different levels to the soul, like Ruach, and then we have the lowest level of the soul is the Nefesh. The Nefesh is sort of like a level of the soul that stays with the corpse. It stays with the bones in the grave. And eventually it does leave, but it leaves an imprint of vapor on the bones. And this is how people are cloned and resurrected, from that imprint on the bones. And Rosa of Viterbo, especially the Lutz bone, L-U-Z, the Lutz bone contains all the knowledge of the incarnation for it to be cloned and resurrected or replicated. But you don't replicate the soul. You only replicate the knowledge of the incarnation. So it's like it's a walking shell of itself. You can use it for whatever bidding you want it to be carry out for you. You know, it's like a walking zombie. And Rose was encoded with this technology. I mean, she woke the dead. She had that sacred heart fire pumping through, the fire of Ptah, the fire of the underworld. She had this pumping through her, and she resurrected the dead. And they'd used the sacred, ancient Egyptian sacred heart technology of Amen Ra, of Amen. You know, think about it. Catholicism is the cult of the dead. You know, it's the ancient Egyptian cult of the dead, reborn. And I'm going to be doing other videos later on. I think I will be live on Leak Project tonight. I got to talk to Rex to make sure. I am going to be doing a live show with Misaki Miguel. I don't know if it's going to be live or recorded, but we're going to be doing a show with my buddy Misaki as well coming up. And everybody support me right here on YouTube in the Super Chat. You could support me at my PayPal, on my website, themysticalspiral.com. Every little bit helps keep me doing these videos, and I need better equipment so I could do better investigations, better camera, better everything. So any little bit helps. Yeah, Sharon, what the fuck is right? What the hell, dude? You know, oh shit, I'm parked over there. I'm parked in the wrong place. I came in the wrong area. So I forgot I was parked on the other side. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's endless when we go through it all. But very interesting stuff. And like I said, I have crystals, readings, everything available for you guys. So check out my website if you're new to me. It's themysticalspiral.com. And my Patreon, I haven't put a post on in like 2 days or so, but I usually put daily posts on Patreon. My Patreon is patreon.com/themysticalspiral. It's one of the best Patreons out there. I mean, I go more in depth than I do here on YouTube. I put pictures and some stuff from my archives to talk about what I'm doing. I do psychic viewings of occult breakdowns. I have paranormal proof on there, different pictures, different videos where I've caught paranormal situations on camera. Very interesting things on there that you can't find anywhere else in the world on my Patreon. And it's patreon.com/themysticalspiral. $2 a month gets you in the door. I also have a shamanism class. I have 2 classes recorded already, and I'm working on my fall classes right now. It's just that I was releasing a lot of information in those first 2 classes. I should have broke it down a little bit more, like slower. But I put a lot of information in those first 2 classes that take months and months of work. Visualization techniques, meditation techniques, all sorts of things that are from my lineage and fine-tuned to modern times. You know, it's you're not worshiping any gods or goddesses. You're not casting spells or anything like that. It's to break spiritual sickness. My family line and my hereditary knowledge is not about casting spells. It's about breaking spells. We don't cast spells. We break them. So people come to me to heal from spiritual sickness, to get the evil out of them, to contribute to the evil. So I want people to understand that. It's not about casting a spell. It's about clearing that energy. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. Yeah, I do understand how they use the goddess energy. They have invoked the dark star of the goddess. And unfortunately, her wrath is coming. And, you know, I do feel there's going to be an event where it's almost like we're saved by some goddess or something. There's going to be some sort of event where it saves us and it converts the rest of the world. And it's going to be part of the artificial intelligence. It's part of the technology that's entwined with us now. And in ancient Hebrew, they talked about the Mayim Chayim. The Mayim Chayim. It's spelled Maymchayim. This is the living waters. A living liquid that we're going to breathe in and take into ourselves to bring us to another level, another body. And we can transmutate that energy. So thank you, everybody, for stepping in. Am I an AI or reptilian shapeshifter? No, I am not. I mean, I don't have to prove that to anybody. I mean, I was born, and I was born with the call. I was born with psychic abilities. And, no, I'm not an NPC or anything like that. I have some of the most intense emotions out there. I'm for sure human, everybody. And I've been attacked by reptilian forces before in my life, or serpent energy forces. And I have a strong connection to some of the occultists out there. You know, I've had astral visits from Madame Blavatsky and different people I didn't even know who they were when I was a child, having these visions. And then later on, when I saw certain pictures of people, I found out that, oh my God, these people are actually real. They're not just from my visions, and they're from my dreams. So I do feel that we are all prior incarnations, and it's up to us. It's up to us to bring our spiritual evolution back on track. I will see you guys soon, and spiral out.